Good afternoon. There you go. Okay, now there is energy in this room. So, today's session is about NSX SD-WAN by VeloCloud for service providers on the VMware vCloud NFV platform. My name is Dharma Rajan, and I work as a principal solution architect at VMware in the Telco Network Function Virtualization NFV business unit. And we want to welcome all of you on today's session. Co-presenting with me is Brian Slye from AT&T. Welcome, Brian. Thanks for joining us at VMware, at VMworld. We really appreciate AT&T's engagement here. So this session is going to talk about focus very specifically on service provider market. We will try to cover this session about 50 minutes. Both me and Brian will share the talk, and then we'll take questions at the end. I'm sure all of you by today have seen this a couple of times, right? Anybody here memorized this? Okay, I'll give you a couple of seconds so that you can just digest this. And some of the information that we are going to be talking may not yet be in the products, so just be aware of that. Okay? So, the session we are planning to have, once you take this session, the expectation is you would have a fairly good understanding of what is NSX SD-WAN and what is the VMware vCloud NFV platform on which solutions like NSX SD-WAN and the future solutions like universal CPE and those sort of ecosystem solutions can be evolved. Then you'll also learn from AT&T how AT&T has deployed NSX SD-WAN in their network and how they are helping their enterprise customers. You will also hear about the VMware AT&T Better Together story from Brian. So with that said, the agenda for today, we'll have 3 sections, very simple, straightforward. First is giving you an idea of what is NSX SD-WAN, then walking through how do you deploy it on the VMware vCloud platform. Then the third section, Brian will talk about AT&T's deployment experience. Sounds good? Everybody ready to rock and roll? Okay, let's go. So, first we'll talk about how many of you have heard that name VeloCloud. Quite a few of you, right? Because they were the leaders in SD-WAN, and VMware gets the leaders. So VMware acquired VeloCloud in December of 2017. They moved into our Palo Alto campus about 4 months back, and the product that VeloCloud made was well fitting into the networking portfolio business of VMware. Thus, they are part of the NSBU that develops the NSX product. And thus the new name for the product, NSX SD-WAN. It is the same product that was sold by VeloCloud now into the VMware family of products. Okay. Now, we will talk, this product has been deployed in more than 10,000 branches, more than 1,000 plus enterprise customers, and more than 50 plus service providers are today using this platform. Service providers build networks so that they may be able to have their enterprise customer develop SD-WAN for their branch to branch or for their branch to corporate communications. So what is happening? Why did SD-WAN come into place? What is the slight of a difference between the traditional WAN and what difference that SD-WAN makes Let us take a brief look at that first. So if you look at the challenge for the traditional WAN, in order to communicate between the branch offices and the corporate, typically enterprises were leasing T1 lines or an MPLS circuit where the service provider was guaranteeing them SLAs so that they can send any type of traffic through that network that would meet their business need, that would meet their security need, that would meet the quality of service need, the quality of experience needs. Now, today MPLS typically costs anywhere from $100 to $300 per megabit per second per month. Contrast that to broadband via internet, where cable XDSL cost is somewhere in the $1 to $2 per megabit per second per month. So what do you see? You have a 100x plus cost differential here. Now, there is additionally, in the traditional infrastructure, if you start to build and maintain that WAN infrastructure, from a CapEx point of view, you are almost paying $50K plus, and you may have to do forklift upgrades every few years. So your CapEx and OpEx spendings are quite high. Operationally, the deployment of WAN can take months. So it's highly expensive. Then the applications that are running on that traditional WAN infrastructure are slow. And typically, if you look at the utilization of those equipment in the traditional WAN, it's anywhere in the 20% range. You also see an industry shift. That industry shift is more than 50% of the enterprises. They are moving towards the cloud. And as they move towards the cloud, this changing traffic flow is making traditional WAN suboptimal. Okay? So under this scenario, we are now in a sort of a new era where we have a software-defined wide area network where with internet connectivity is a reality. So with that reality, how does SD-WAN work in this environment? So today, everything is software-based or cloud-based. There are multiple transport paths that are available for use. We have fail-safe SD-WAN that can allow enterprises to take advantage of the enormous bandwidth that is offered by the public internet. And you also see there is that 100x price differential that you can get, gains that you can get. Now, because we are using the public internet connectivity, you can now leverage various colo facilities. That is basically data centers that are located in colo facilities which are operated in a carrier-neutral way. It's agnostic to any type of carrier. Companies like Equinix, Interxion, Telehouse, they all operate this colo facility. So thus you can build a global SD-WAN infrastructure by leveraging many of these colo facility, and this helps enterprises and service providers to use that overlay network on a need basis. So with that, in addition to that, what you also see is this, it reduces the time because you already have a built-in overlay network. By using all these colos, enterprises can very easily attach to them. So instead of taking months for you to build the SD-WAN infrastructure, it's a matter of days now, wherein you can connect to that network. And then, so what is SD-WAN in a very simplistic terms? You may have hundreds to thousands of these branch offices, and from one branch office you may have at each branch an edge, And from that edge, you send the packets to the cloud infrastructure and deliver it to the other end seamlessly and securely. Let us look at the details behind this by first looking at what is the NSX SD-WAN architecture. Now, the basic architecture for NSX SD-WAN is made up of 3 entities. The first entity is the NSX edge. This edge aggregates multiple links. It could be private, it could be cable, it could be DSL, it could be 4G LTE, different types of links aggregates. And then it steers the traffic to other on-premise edges, to the branch offices, or it could be to a private data center, it could be to campus, or it could be a corporate office. So the edge can optionally connect to the system of global overlay network gateways and then provide the performance, the security, and the visibility to all the cloud services. These cloud services could be SaaS-based service, IaaS-based service, B2B internet-based service. So this NSX SD-WAN gateway is the second entity in the NSX SD-WAN architecture. And this gateway can be located in a cloud, it can be located at a service provider edge, it can be located at an enterprise data center, it can be located in a colo, or it can be located in a cloud data center. So you have different locations. Now, you could build the system of SD-WAN gateways together by using all these top-tier cloud providers and thereby create this overlay network. So as an enterprise, it is up to you. You have an edge, just hook it up to this overlay network and you are done. Now, these gateways implement a unique protocol for its communication with other gateways or with the edge. We will look into that. And what it does is it's enabling thereby multiple broadband and private lease lines to appear as a single high-performance logical WAN layer. So there could be multiple gateways through which the packet may have to be steered through in order to reach its destination. Now, managing all these gateways and the edges need a management system. And that is the third entity of the NSX SD-WAN architecture. And it is called the NSX SD-WAN orchestrator. So what it basically does, it manages it, identifies any sort of performance, service insertion, and those sort of management from end to end of the SD-WAN network. Now, as we move into this, various types of services can be used. It could be a voice over IP service, it could be a H.268 or 4 for video, it could be a SIP, different types of service, and each service may have different quality of service, different bandwidth needs. So the system has to be agilent enough that it can react to all of these types of service and provide that in a secure manner. So we'll look at this protocol after we first take a look at, okay, if we deploy SD-WAN from a service provider, how would that look, and what is the service provider network architecture for deploying SD-WAN, and what benefits will service provider get with this? If you know, service providers usually have their own MPLS network with lots of gateways there that provide private circuit connectivity to enterprise. That's where to end. Now, you build this SD-WAN overlay network, and this overlay network helps them to reduce the dependency on their MPLS network for last mile transport, basics, then the traffic between different SD-WAN sites can be directly between them in the overlay network. Thereby, any sort of additional capacity they have in the underlay network can be used for other purpose. So there is a benefit. The third is service providers can now support multi-region SD-WAN. And this eliminates the need for them to backhaul the traffic to a transit site. If you start to look at this from their customer point of view, what service providers can do is they can allow their customers to retain their public IP pool that they have previously assigned to them. And optionally, they can start to provide on a per customer basis specific type of services, new services, which means new revenue for them. Example, firewalling services. And the reason they can do this is because the architecture provides you the ability to do multi-tenancy. With multi-tenancy, you can assign to each customer separate VRF, that is virtual routing and forwarding. Once you assign that uniqueness, you can assign them to different BGP routes and then connect them to their VLAN VNF infrastructure, thereby giving them the same type of experience that they had with the traditional WAN, but with additional facilities. Then service providers can also provide transport independent, for example, triple play type services. They can offer them by making use of their existing VLAN type architecture. They can also help with providing overlapping IP address so that they can offer different services and the customer can retain their existing IP blocks. So there are several advantages that the enterprise customer can gain when a service provider starts to offer SD-WAN technology. They have the provider edge and the gateways within that MPLS network. They can host the NSX SD-WAN gateways within that network and also the orchestrator, so that using that orchestrator, they can manage all their enterprise customers in a very secure manner. So that gives the big advantage for service providers in order to build SD-WAN. Now, one of the key things we talked as part of the architecture is the communication that happens between the edge and the gateway to gateway. And what is that big differentiator VeloCloud brings to the market is the protocol. So let us talk about that uniqueness of that protocol. It is called dynamic multipath optimization. So this architecture requires the overlay network, which consists of multiple tunnels. Now, monitoring and adapting the traffic to these changes in the underlying WAN transport, and this happening in real time, the overlay network taking that into account is very critical. So in order to deliver that resilient overlay network, what NSX SD-WAN provides is the dynamic multipath optimization protocol. It's a proprietary protocol that is used between any NSX SD-WAN entities that carry data traffic. Now, here we duplicate the packets and we can say at what point of time a packet reached its destination. What we could also say is how it can handle multiple TCP flows, link steering, how it can steer the traffic to different links, different types of link failures. It could be related to a blackout, it could be a brownout type scenario, or it could be lossiness in the links. These are all things the protocol can handle. In addition to this, it can also handle traffic based on different customized business policy. It supports more than 2,500 plus business policy based on which it can redirect the traffic and react to it in real time. It can do link aggregation as well as link optimization. what does all of these things bring together? The differentiation in which the SD-WAN architecture has been built, and at the same time, the outcome of this is you will get a 2x to 10x time response time improvement, thereby giving a highly good quality of experience. So there are a lot of advantages with this dynamic optimization protocol. First is automated bandwidth discovery. So once the WAN link is detected by the edge, then it starts to send bidirectional traffic in short bursts in order to identify the characteristic of that link. There are several parameters it can measure and know what is that link characteristic. At the same time, it can also start to identify the topology of that link, whether it is a real public IP address, for example, or is it behind a NAT, is it behind a pad, is it a private link, or is it acting as a head end, or is it acting like a hub. So these are different topological characteristics as well as characteristics of the link. Having known that level of information, then you can start to monitor that path, continuous path monitoring. Where during this continuous path monitoring, it will send unidirectional traffic and do measurements like loss, jitter, packet loss, jitter, latency. So it can do that on a per link basis, and because you have multiple links, you can do it on a per link basis between any edge and gateway or gateway to gateway. Now, as it does this, it can also do the per packet steering because it now knows a characteristic. And it can do that per packet steering very specifically for the uplink and the downlink direction in two separate ways if needed, without having to do any sort of asymmetric routing between. So this is a big advantage here. When it does the dynamic per packet steering, it can also identify the different traffics using attributes from layer 2 to layer 7. And it can also bring in the customized business policy in order to make that addition, but also including what is the real-time link status, the link behavior. So it would put all of this together and then determine how to send the traffic flow. So that level of optimization exists within that protocol. Now service provider will guarantee the different SLAs for each MPLS class of service. Right? Now on each MPLS link, DMPO can take that class of service information and align that to start monitoring the links as well as do application steering accordingly. So that's a big benefit. Other key benefit is on-demand remediation. Many a times you may be in a scenario where the DMPO may not able to shift the traffic to a specific link based on different link characteristics and its performance at that time. During such period, DMPO has the ability to do auto correction for that duration of time so that it provides some way of self-healing on the properties. So now that we have seen, what we have seen so far is what is the NSX SD-WAN architecture, the entities that are deployed as part of the architecture, the key protocol that communicates between the different entities, what are the advantages of deploying. Now, I'll very quickly summarize. One key thing is, okay, where have we deployed? It's always good to say that, look, we have eaten our own dog food. And VMware acquired VeloCloud in December of 2017. And just 4 months they have been within us. We have started to deploy VMware on the VMware IT network. So this is an example where we are working on it, where we have 3 R&D centers, one in Bangalore, one in Pune, and one in Chennai. These are the 3 branches you could consider, from that communicating to our Palo Alto headquarters. So this sort of an initiative has happened within VMware. This is to prove for us that everything works. Now, one of the key things as you look forward into this is, as you see, all these edge are hardware form factor. Their edges are available both in hardware form factor as well as in virtual form factor as virtual network function. Now, as you see the network evolving towards the cloud model, you will see more and more of these deployments happening as virtual network function. So we'll have virtual network function for the edge, for the gateway and the orchestrator, all this is available. So when you have this, and as you start to think about expanding SD-WAN, and every service provider intent is, how can I extend SD-WAN beyond the current capabilities? That is where universal CPE comes into play. And service providers say, how can I start to offer my customers capability of services like firewalling, load balancing, IDS, IPS, and all of that? Everything is a virtual network function. So when they start to think of multiple of these virtual network function, where do they go and deploy that? They need to find a common platform where they can deploy any type of VNF from any vendor of their choice. And service providers, what they need? They need carrier greatness. Each of us, when we lift our telephone, our expectation is we will have a dial tone 100% of the time. We are talking about 5G, we are talking about augmented reality and all of it. Expectation from we as consumer is that. So they need a platform that can meet those needs. And that platform where they can deploy that is called the VMware vCloud NFV platform. VMware has developed this platform starting in 2015. We architected this platform such a way that it can be deployed for any type of use cases in a carrier-grade service provider environment. So let us look at this platform, and I'll give you how you can deploy SD-WAN and universal CPE solution on this platform. Now, what you see here in the bottom blue box is what VMware provides as part of the network function virtualization infrastructure. This platform architecture is compliant to the European Telecom Standard Institute NSX Architecture. We started development of this platform in 2015. 2016 was when we started to go into production, and today we have more than 100 plus production deployment carrying live traffic. There are more than 400 million subscribers using this platform to make their everyday telephony calls. If you are anywhere in Europe, all across Vodafone, this is the platform. All across in India, if you're there, and if you're using Reliance, all the new phones that they are buying, it's all based on this platform. There are several such customer stories we can relate to. Now, this platform has been used for several use cases. A virtual IP multimedia subsystem for handling voice, virtual evolved packet core for handling data, virtual CPE, customer premises equipment for handling whether it's a virtual firewall, virtual LAN, IDS, IPS, a virtual router, and those sort of things. Then we have SD-WAN platform, universal CPE, content data networks like TV network virtualization, the whole stream. What we see is the evolution is radio access network virtualization all the way going to smart cities and smart communities. So this is the one question you ask there is the virtual network function. We said it can be deployed by any vendor. So how do you do that? If you take a solution, it can have multiple vendors. We give you that freedom of choice to pick the vendor of choice for any solution. How do we do that? What VMware does is any vendor can bring their VNF we'll validate the integration and interoperability on this platform, whether it works with the compute layer, the storage layer, the network virtualization layer, the management layer, and how it works with secure multi-tenancy. We'll do that, and we'll issue the VMware ready for NFV certification as part of that. Thus, if you have developing a VNF, you want to validate on the platform, bring it to us, and we will validate it for you. Okay? Now, that being said, how do I deploy now SD-WAN entities on this platform? Take the platform, you can NSX SD-WAN Edge, the gateway can be deployed as VNFs. The orchestrator is essentially an element management system. That is how we see it. From an HC architecture perspective, it's an element management system, but ideally the exact same software. Okay? So let us say tomorrow you want to do data center to data center WAN optimization, and you decide to pick a vendor. Maybe you want to use Silver Peak. That's fine. It will work on the platform. Tomorrow you want to pick Palo Alto. You want to have your customer. Some customers are asking for Palo Alto virtual firewall. Another customer may be asking for Checkpoint. A third one may be asking for FortiGate or Fortinet. You could put any of those VNF on the platform and very securely demarcate it to the lowest common denominator. That is what secure multi-tenancy. And that secure multi-tenancy is done by what is called the VMware Infrastructure Manager, Virtual Infrastructure Manager. And that could be, if you want to go with OpenStack, VMware provides you the VMware Integrated OpenStack Carrier Edition. Carrier Edition is very specifically for service provider whose expectation is carrier grade. Or you could go with the VMware vCloud Director, which has been used by service providers globally for a pretty long time. Now, that being said, there are various use cases related to SD-WAN that you can use on this platform. So thereby, you are extending, not only deploying the platform for SD-WAN use cases, but you're also extending it to various other ecosystem functional solutions. Now with that, let me now give you one. I said you're agnostic to any type of hardware, but VMware has been working with Dell in order to validate NSX SD-WAN entities on different types of x86-based hardware. So here are three servers. The first server is the VEP 1400 that Dell plans to release by October. It's for small form factor where you can get up to 2 cores. Then the middle one is the VEP 4600 that's available as GA. You can not only put SD-WAN virtual network function, but also others. It's available up to 16 cores. Then if you want the high end, where you want to take it to production, not only put SD-WAN entities, but UCPE entities or others, up to 22 cores, the high-end R640s are available. And if you want to have very high bandwidth throughput, up to 100 gig NICs are available on this server. So this gives you a picture of where we started, why SD-WAN, the value of NSX SD-WAN, what is its architecture, the protocols, how you can deploy it on a VMware vCloud NFV platform, the benefits of that platform, and how you can extend your solution to UCPE. There are several service providers globally. AT&T is the leading and #1 service provider in the world. So let us listen to AT&T, and I invite Brian to the stage to probably walk us through that.
All right, thank you very much, Dharma, and I appreciate everyone's time here today. As Dharma mentioned, my name is Brian Slye. I work for AT&T in our business marketing organization. My responsibility is bringing to market solutions around SD-WAN and universal CPE. And today, through our presentation, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the success that we've had this year in partnering with VMware on how we go to market to transform our customers' networks, and as they look to deploy more digital transformations, how we can help them succeed and really capture their objectives. Okay, so first and foremost, I like to lead off with this slide. This is AT&T by the numbers. Currently, AT&T is the largest communications company in the world. We're really proud about some of the numbers on the screen here. 197 petabytes a day of traffic that we are able to analyze. Over $150 billion worth of investment that we've made in the network over the last 5 to 7 years. 1.1 million fiber miles domestically. That reaches about 2 million business customers and 400 million people covered by our wireless service. So while we're going to talk about SD-WAN today, and while we're going to talk a little bit about network transformation, AT&T's portfolio extends far beyond that into a world where we are looking to bring solutions that really provide an edge-to-edge vision, which we're going to talk to you about. One key point down at the bottom right here, 75% of our network being software-based by the year 2020. We are utilizing in a very heavy partnership with VMware to transform AT&T's internal network, our packet core network, to be virtualized by the year 2020, 75%. Currently, we're around 65% of our entire network being virtualized. And that comes into play really, really soon here. Now, it's not just me bragging about our numbers. Some of the analysts out there, and you can see AT&T in the top right-hand corner in the orange here. This is Gartner's Magic Quadrant for managed networks on a global basis. While we're really proud of our network and some of the numbers that I was showing you on the last slide, the Gartners of the world, the analysts of the world are also telling our customers, telling the 3 million business customers that we serve, that we are the best at providing a managed network service on a global scale. So, what are we hearing from our customers, those 3 million business customers? Every day, we're hearing about their need to transform their business to keep up with competition, to offer services and capabilities to their customers that are new and unique, in order to transform their operations, to improve the experience for their employees and their customers, to drive new revenue, to reduce the cost of their business. They want all of their edges, whether that is a facility, a location, a headquarters data center, whether that is a smartphone, IoT device. They want that device to connect directly to the cloud to drive better performance of their applications. They also want to do that in a way that they have control and visibility onto their network so they can make almost real-time decisions and changes on their network to optimize the traffic. And at the same time, they want that visibility into how their network and their applications are performing from a single trusted provider on one seamless pane of glass. Okay? So that's what we're hearing from our customers. That is the need in today's marketplace to deliver. And AT&T strives to deliver this every single day by the products that we bring to market. Now, back in the 2007 timeframe, we experienced a tremendous strain of our network. And can anybody tell me what happened in 2007 timeframe? What was introduced? Yeah, the iPhone. The iPhone. So the iPhone was released, and the amount of traffic that we saw on our hardware-centric network was just too much to handle as we looked to upgrade that network. Every 3 months, we were looking to upgrade the network. It required us to go into each and every one of our data centers, rip and replace all of the heavy equipment that we had just invested in. So we made a decision in about the 2012 timeframe to move into a software-centric model. That model was going to enable us to utilize things like vCloud, to utilize things like network function virtualization, to make changes on our network in near real time to adjust for the capacity that is needed. So we have seen over 360,000% growth in the data that is traversing our network over the last 10 years, and we're expecting that to continue to 7-fold, 8-fold, 10-fold over the next 5 years, primarily driven by video consumption. You can see a nice quote at the bottom by John Donovan, that there is really no army that can hold back the technology when it comes, right? The economic principles when its time has come. And we believe that moving to a software-centric platform is really that economic principle that is not on the verge. It has already hit land, and we are seeing that, and we're going to show you a few examples of some of the recent wins that we've seen in the marketplace. So AT&T has a vision, right? We started seeing the strain on our network. We moved into a software-centric approach. Our vision is to take the core, our core capabilities, $15 billion in annual revenue, take what we know about the core and start to expand that across the complexities on both sides of the edge-to-edge vision, both the LAN side, where we're seeing numbers thrown around like 50 billion IoT devices by the year 2020, and how that can migrate all the way to the cloud, whether that's private, public, or some type of hybrid cloud environment. Putting the smarts of our network on both sides enables us to provide seamless interaction of traffic from an edge-to-edge vision. And we do that by enabling 4 key ingredients. The first is ONAP, our open network automation platform. This started as around 8 million lines of code that AT&T wrote. We open sourced it to the Linux Foundation, and today we have around 70% of the worldwide mobile carriers adopting ONAP as our single operating system for a software-defined mobile network. Okay? So we've got some of our fiercest competitors that have adopted this as the standard approach, and we literally wrote the book on it. Second is our AIC, which stands for our AT&T Integrated Cloud. Our AICs are situated strategically over 150 locations globally. That gives us the infrastructure to start pushing that operating system and all of the solutions that we've built out closer to all of our customers on a global basis. As a matter of fact, the third ingredient, Virtual Edge, otherwise known as FlexWhere, which we're going to get to in just a second, very first customer of our Virtual Edge was based out of New Zealand. And for anyone that has worked with AT&T in the past, we have traditionally built products in a 21, 22 state footprint. To have our first customer based out of New Zealand was something new for us and achievement that we're really proud of. And SD-WAN, it's that killer app that's going to drive the need for all 3 of the other ingredients to come into play. Okay? So this vision is a little bit differentiated from others in the marketplace because we look at the entire picture, the holistic solution that a customer experiences, not just one point of a solution that a customer has to manage. We have software-defined our core, that's that 75% by the year 2020, that we're currently around 60-65%. That enables us to offer products and services to our customers like ADI on demand or AT&T Switched Ethernet on demand that enable them from a single pane of glass to log in and adjust their bandwidth in real time, to ebb and flow with the traffic as it's coming in, right? Think of a customer that has high seasonality and does not need the excess capacity for 9 months out of the year, but those 3 months where they're extremely busy, they need the excess capacity. Without having to rip and replace circuits, we now have the ability to offer them a solution where they can scale up and only pay for the service when they need to use it, and then scale back down when they don't need to use it. We combine that with FlexWhere, which is our virtual platform, which enables us to put multiple VNFs from best-of-breed ecosystem of vendors onto a single platform, offering them lower total cost of ownership for their branch offices and the network infrastructure and the functions that they utilize at each branch. And that killer app, SD-WAN, NSX SD-WAN by VeloCloud, enables us to offer the performance guarantees, the visibility, the reliability that we talked about earlier are the 4 key things that our customers are looking for. And AT&T's vision is about putting that onto one pane of glass for our customers to manage their entire network from edge to edge. So FlexWhere. FlexWhere is a multi-core x86 platform on the right-hand side. What we've traditionally seen from our customers at a branch office, they will have a stack of boxes, routers, firewalls, WAN accelerators, SD-WAN, and other functions as well. Wireless LAN controllers, session border controllers, the list kind of goes on and on. AT&T in 2016 rolled this service out. We have thousands of clients that are currently utilizing it, thousands of edges that have already been deployed with FlexWhere. FlexWhere takes a virtual network function approach from just about every vendor that you are familiar with on the left-hand side and can put them onto a single box, offering our customers the ability to manage one solution rather than an entire stack. And you think about some of the other soft costs, the cooling and the power that go along with managing that stack on the left-hand side. You think about the complexity from a procurement and billing perspective, where a customer has to deal with multiple vendors, with multiple bills, multiple contracts that are all staged at different times throughout their life cycle. FlexWhere offers the capability to put each of those virtual network functions onto that box on a 30-day contract, 30 days at a time. No long-term licensing agreements. So we do that in a few form factors. On the left-hand side, the devices that we currently operate with, the 210, the 410, and the 412. Each of those have different CPU, memory, and storage capabilities. They can work with just about any type of access, whether it's TDM, Ethernet, broadband, MPLS, LTE, either AT&Ts or third party. And you can see in the middle, we work with a number of best-of-breed vendors to enable that library of virtual network functions. So if you wanted a SRX router or a CSR router from Cisco, you can procure that. Again, 30 days at a time, as a service type of consumption model. If you are unhappy with your provider or you have a site that needs to be turned down, at this point, you have no contractual obligation to continue that service after 30 days. So a lot of flexibility, a lot of control, again, mapping back to those first 4 ingredients that our customers were looking for. If you want a firewall, Palo Alto, Fortinet, Checkpoint, Juniper, all offer firewalls that you can put on to the box. VeloCloud, NSX SD-WAN, is our SD-WAN solution currently that we can put onto the FlexWhere box as well. Again, over anybody's transport, AT&T or third party, and over 200 plus countries deployed in over 70. So there's a lot of complexity there. Now, this is not just a nice box that you can put 3 or 4 different network functions on and lower your total cost of ownership. There's some other things that go on behind the scenes. Not only the infrastructure, but the service chaining. Over 130 service chain templates that we have already certified within our labs and are deploying in production environments today. Orchestrated management, by utilizing the ONAP platform, we now have the ability to orchestrate the management across all of those VNFs. So we are driving our customers to have scale and value. We're driving them to have flexibility and choice. In the goal to get our customers to one integrated hybrid vision for their wide area networking, AT&T views SD-WAN as a huge momentum trend in the marketplace right now. But at the same time, customers, and I have visited with hundreds and hundreds of clients this year alone, clients want the ability to site type on a site-by-site basis. They want a vendor that can operate multiple different networking technologies, MPLS, IPsec, SD-WAN, Layer 2 Ethernet, and put them all onto one common backbone that they can start to layer on other services like cybersecurity, like voice over IP, like cloud. And that's what AT&T does, and we do that better than anyone else in the world. Now, what makes us unique with SD-WAN in particular, with VeloCloud and NSX SD-WAN, we've got two flavors of SD-WAN. And we've invested a lot in the SD-WAN gateway that rests right there on our MPLS backbone. What that does, that's called our network-based SD-WAN service. What that does is it enables our customers to utilize SD-WAN only at the sites where they need it, keeping the technologies at the other sites just like they are today. Okay, so instead of accessing the gateway in your cloud, we have put that gateway on our MPLS backbone. Customer dials into that gateway, and they now are on the MPLS backbone on one holistic WAN. So we have worked tirelessly with the VMware team, with the VeloCloud team over the course of probably the last 18 months or so. And what I can tell you is that you all have solutions and a portfolio that are best in class. Customers want to utilize you all for the data center capabilities, for the cloud capabilities, for your professional services, for your edge capabilities, and you see those all in the green bubbles around. When we go to market together, and we can take AT&T's hybrid WAN approach, when we can take the core and our edge-to-edge vision and couple that with the assets and portfolio that VMware comes to the table with, then we are truly better together. And don't just take my word for it. We've got a number of new logos that have been won this year alone. Okay, and this is just a handful, guys. I could not put every single logo on the screen, but you all are probably familiar with 90% of these. Customers are looking for digital transformation, they're looking for trusted providers, and together VMware, AT&T offer a very unique value proposition in the industry. So with that, thank you for your time. I'm going to hand it back to Dharma to close things out, and then we're going to open it up for Q&A.
Thanks, Brian. So far, what did we hear? We heard about VMware NSX SD-WAN, architecture, ability to deploy, a common platform technology, and then we heard AT&T's story of how they have deployed using VMware. And we would encourage all of you to probably go and look more deeper into this, and any of you are interested more in either SD-WAN or different virtual network functions that you want to get certified, just let us know. So in closing, I'm going to say that, okay, we have learned, what we have learned here is, we learned about VMware NSX SD-WAN, which today has more than 60% market share in the service provider market. So many service providers are using this, it's reality, and then if you are a service provider and you are planning to deploy it, NSX SD-WAN is the right way for you to go. And if you are thinking long term, not only just deploy SD-WAN, and like AT&T, you want to give your customers more freedom of choice, the VMware vCloud NFV platform is the right way to go. And AT&T is the leader in the enterprise market to sell for SD-WAN. And finally, VMware and SD-WAN, we have a better together story on SD-WAN and NFV technology to make sure the ecosystem develop. And as you move, think about moving towards 5G, IoT, the same common platform, same common VNFs can be used. So with that, I'm going to leave you with this summary, but quickly give you two points before we take questions. Please fill out the survey. It's very important we get your feedback. Then I'm going to see a couple of other sessions that may be of interest to you. Tomorrow I'm doing a session on network slicing and service function chaining along with affirmed networks. So if you're interested, please join us. Then if you have any specific thing, okay, I am starting to deploy, these are my architecture, you want to talk about 5G, IoT, or NFV, I'm doing a Meet the Expert session tomorrow between 5:15 and 6 tomorrow. Then we also said that one of the key things with what we have learned from the experience of people is as they start to deploy NFV, SD-WAN, performance is very key. And we have now developed a new virtual switch that can beat any of the things in performance. We can achieve line rates for 64-byte, 1024-byte packet and all of that. So tomorrow there is going to be another session where we are breaking the virtual speed limit for data plane intensive workload. Please come and listen to that. That is another good topic too. So with that, I'm going to stop, say thank you, and we are open for questions. I think we have got about 4 minutes, but we'll be here some more time. Please.
So the question is, from AT&T's perspective, is MPLS's days numbered? And I'd say no. What we're seeing, I do see customers that want to migrate to a purely internet-based topology to better connect to the cloud. But for the most part, we're seeing customers that want to connect and add to their MPLS the internet, the additional bandwidth that they're looking for, and have both flavors at their branch sites and their data centers. They want MPLS for the class of service and the additional capabilities like voice over IP, but they also need the additional bandwidth at a lower cost. When we put SD-WAN on top of that, then you've got a really good solution that gives you the capabilities for all of your different applications. They're in different life cycles for the applications, if they're going to be migrating to the cloud or not. So there's some customers that are ready to move, and those customers tend to go with an internet-based topology. And that's why at AT&T, we constructed the FlexWhere platform to work over anything, whether it's MPLS or internet, third party. So I'd say that right now, most of the clients that I'm seeing are MPLS plus internet for security, class of service reasons. But I have seen customers start to migrate when they have taken a cloud-first approach to a more internet-only topology, for sure.
So, do you guys manage the former upgrade line as well as the below SD-WAN components? Because the other appliance that
Yeah, so I'll answer for the FlexWhere platform. We offer both sets, AT&T managed and customer managed. What we saw is that a lot of customers, dependent on the network function that they put on, whether it's SD-WAN, a firewall, router, WAN accelerator, some of them want to contain that policy management. They want to have the control. And other clients want the professional services of us managing it and don't really care which vendor we choose to put onto the platform. With SD-WAN, we've seen a bit of a co-model where customers want the access into the orchestrator, where they can view the application performance, they can see what's going on in the network on a site-by-site basis, but they also want somebody else setting the policy, making sure that nothing breaks on the underlay, right, and the overlay. So they want somebody that's going to have that central point of management. So we offer both sets, but we are seeing a lot of co-management.
I'll just add one point to that. So if you look at it from an NFV architecture, we provide freedom of choice. That freedom of choice exists even at the orchestrator layer. You can pick any vendor orchestrator because what we provide is all RESTful API so that you can connect. One thing that we are seeing as we go into market with service providers is, depending upon how they are managing their network, some have managed service providers. So they bring a separate sort of team who manage the entire network. There are others who want to manage the infrastructure separately. And what we from VMware provide is what is called the carrier grade support. I didn't talk about that. That is, we guarantee that for the infrastructure that you build, if you build it based on our reference architecture, you can put any vendor VNF. then you can get the carrier grade support from VMware, and we will guarantee SLAs such that in case you have a P1 type scenario resulting in an outage and we are not able to fix it within 4 hours, we'll give you credit. But at the same time, if you have a problem and we identify that, okay, specific VNF vendor is involved, we will put a tri-party call and VMware will be involved in the call till your problem is resolved. So that is a type of level to which we can give you that support. So automated and orchestration is one part. The other part is also the support part of it from a day-to operation point of view.
If the question is, are other service providers offering VeloCloud? We do have a couple of clients that have gone in that direction. 98% of the clients that were utilizing VeloCloud are sold by AT&T and other solution providers that are part of our indirect channel. We have seen clients, finance customer in the Northeast currently, they get services from AT&T, they resell them to their customers. But that's definitely the exception, not the rule. Yeah. Anybody. Yeah, we've constructed it and utilized VeloCloud, NSX SD-WAN for that sake, to offer a transport access agnostic solution for our clients. All right, I think we're over time.
Any final questions? Okay. One question, we'll tell last question.
I couldn't hear that.
I didn't hear you. Can you come to the mic, please?
FlexWhere, could we have it managed by AT&T and also carve out like multi-tenancy for the customer to control it?
Yeah, so AT&T FlexWhere will always be managed. The box itself, the universal CPE, is always managed by AT&T through the hypervisor. The actual VNFs, we offer AT&T managed or customer managed solutions. Does that answer your question, or? Yes, absolutely. So if the customer wanted to deploy a router and a firewall, then they could manage those services. They would get into the exact same portals from the vendors that they are accustomed to, Cisco or Juniper, Palo Alto. They get into Panorama, right? And they manage their solutions that way. The actual universal CPE, that's managed by AT&T. We make sure that it's up 24/7. We make sure that any patches, we are doing firmware updates. So yeah, we're managing the actual box.
Okay. Let me thank Brian for supporting us.
Yeah, thank you.
And thanks everyone for joining us here. We will both be here, so any questions are welcome.
Yeah, thank you, buddy.